The flashing blue and red lights reflected across the polished glass entrance of the luxury downtown hotel just as the morning rush reached its peak. Employees froze in place. Guests stopped wheeling their suitcases. 2 police officers stepped inside with determined expressions and walked straight toward a quiet maintenance worker wearing a gray uniform. Within seconds, cold handcuffs clicked around his wrists in front of everyone, including his boss, co-workers, and dozens of strangers. The man never fought back. He simply lowered his head for one heartbreaking moment, not because he feared prison, but because he knew his 8-year-old son would be waiting after school for a father who might never come home. None of the officers knew that the silent man standing before them wasn't dangerous at all. They also had no idea that someone far more formidable was about to walk through those hotel doors. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, second chances, and the love of a parent can change lives, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Beyond Single Dad. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories like this to life. The man was named Caleb Mercer, a 38-year-old widowed father who had spent the last 6 years rebuilding a life shattered by loss. After his wife passed away from a sudden illness, Caleb became everything for his young son, Owen. He packed school lunches before sunrise, worked overtime fixing electrical systems and broken equipment at the prestigious Ashford Grand Hotel, attended every parent-teacher meeting, and still found enough energy to read bedtime stories every night. His life was exhausting, but every sacrifice was worth seeing Owen smile. Caleb never asked for sympathy. Most people at work only knew him as the quiet maintenance technician who always arrived early and stayed late whenever another employee needed help. His boss, Vivian Rhodes, respected him deeply because he never complained, even when life seemed determined to test him every single day. Unknown to Caleb, several expensive pieces of hotel equipment had disappeared over the previous month. Security investigators eventually discovered that someone had used Caleb's employee access card to enter restricted storage areas during the thefts. Surveillance footage showed a worker wearing a maintenance uniform, but the person's face remained hidden beneath a cap and poor camera angles. The evidence appeared convincing enough for the police to obtain an arrest warrant before a complete investigation was finished. That Monday morning, officers entered the hotel believing they had found their suspect. Caleb looked stunned as they informed him of the charges. He quietly insisted there had to be some mistake, but the officers believed they were following solid evidence. As guests whispered and co-workers stared in disbelief, Vivian tried explaining Caleb's character, yet procedure left little room for argument. The handcuffs remained locked. The hardest moment wasn't the humiliation. It wasn't even the fear of losing his job. It was remembering Owen's excited promise from the night before. His son had proudly finished building a small wooden birdhouse for a school project and begged Caleb to help paint it after work. As police escorted him toward the exit, Caleb wondered who would be waiting at the school bus stop that afternoon. Across town, another man received an unexpected phone call. His name was Nathan Cross, a 65-year-old retired Navy SEAL who rarely attracted attention despite decades of extraordinary service. Nathan had quietly settled into civilian life after retiring from the military. He volunteered with veterans, repaired homes for elderly neighbors, and occasionally visited the Ashford Grand Hotel because Caleb often helped maintain equipment at the local Veterans Center free of charge. Nathan knew Caleb better than almost anyone. Years earlier, after losing his wife, Caleb had nearly fallen apart emotionally. Nathan became an older brother and mentor, reminding him that strength wasn't measured by never falling but by always standing again for those who depended on you. When Nathan heard Caleb had been arrested for theft, he refused to believe it for even a second. He drove straight to the hotel and calmly introduced himself to Vivian Rhodes before asking one simple question that changed everything. He wanted to see every maintenance log Caleb had completed during the weeks when the thefts occurred. Vivian immediately agreed. Together they reviewed work orders, repair schedules, time records, and security reports. Nathan noticed something unusual. Caleb had been repairing rooftop air conditioning systems during several of the exact times his employee badge supposedly accessed the storage rooms. Those rooftop assignments required another supervisor's approval and generated digital maintenance records. Someone had cloned Caleb's access credentials. Nathan's military background had trained him to notice patterns others overlooked. Instead of focusing on what appeared obvious, he searched for what didn't fit. Meanwhile, Caleb sat quietly inside the police station, refusing to grow angry despite the humiliation. He worried only about Owen. A social worker had already been contacted to make temporary arrangements if no family member could pick up the boy after school. Nathan wasn't willing to let that happen. He requested permission to examine additional surveillance footage from surrounding hallways. One forgotten camera overlooked an employee entrance near the loading dock. The video revealed another maintenance worker briefly exchanging uniforms with an unidentified man shortly before entering restricted areas using what investigators believed was Caleb's identity. The real thief wasn't Caleb at all. Further investigation exposed an organized equipment theft ring involving an outside contractor and one dishonest employee who had secretly copied Caleb's access credentials weeks earlier. They deliberately targeted Caleb because his spotless reputation made him appear trustworthy enough that no one would immediately question his movements. Everything suddenly made sense. The arrest had been based on incomplete evidence. Hours later, detectives hurried back into the interview room where Caleb still sat with tired eyes and folded hands.